Hello, my friends. Jacob's here one more time. Thank you for pressing the play button, for spending a little quality time with me. Oh my goodness. It looks like NASA's budget's getting slashed. Uh-oh, fire sale. NASA, which many people like to point out, in Hebrew it means to deceive. I'm not saying that we didn't go to the moon or anything. I'm not saying that we did either. You know what I mean? I'm just joking. I make jokes on this channel. But NASA's in the news. It's kind of a big thing right now because President Trump and his administration, they're going to slash the budget.
2 astronauts that you just helped save from space, they didn't get any overtime pay for all that extra time. They got $5 a day per diem. For 286 days, that is $1,430 in extra pay. Is there anything the administration can do to make them whole?
Well, nobody's ever mentioned this to me. If I have to, I'll pay it out of my own pocket, okay? I'll get it for them.
In fact, the word that's being used is not like slash the budget, but like is eviscerating science funding at NASA. How interesting is that? If they be corrupt and all.
To a medical facility in Florida, so obviously it took them a little bit longer. Oh, look at those beautiful close-up views of the dolphins from NASA there. Here.
Those.
There we go.
Oh my gosh, they are dolphins. Look at that.
It's funny, you know, the idea that we're going to be on Mars in like 5 years. It strikes me as odd. Also, the pictures that I see about Mars that look strikingly similar to places in the desert or like the mountains or like, what do I know? I don't know. Just because people put stuff out there, does that mean that it's real? I do know that this news is could change. We'll see. This week is part of the process to develop a budget for the fiscal year of 2026. The Trump White House shared the draft version of its proposal for NASA. The initial version of the administration's budget requests calls for approximately 20% overall cut. 20%, baby. Across the board. Effectively, this is like $5 billion. You got to think about that for a second, you know? They're all about budget spending and what are you wasting your money on? And I and a couple of other people were like, hey, when are you gonna take a look at like, you know, where we're funding these missions to like Mars? How much money, to learn that a rocket goes up, sometimes it explodes. How much money are we going to continue to spend so that we can be spacefaring as opposed to taking care of the people that are starving, the people that are literally dying in war right now? You could put all that money. Why do you put all that money to like having people get along? It's interesting though, because we've talked about NASA recently. Jared Isaacman, you know him. He's a billionaire. Go figure. Billionaire. He was the first to do a spacewalk after 50 years out of the Dragon capsule, which is interesting because I did a whole show about how it looked like, well, it looked like sperm. It looked like he was impregnating the universe. And then what happened exactly 9 months later? Oh, that's right. The astronauts came down and they touched down in the sea and there were the dolphins, right? Nothing weird about that. Nothing ritualistic or interesting about that. That's right. There could be some kind of strange rituals that are going on down here in the world and out there in space, if it exists. SpaceX Dragon, man and woman, shot into space. This is a huge thing. Huge. This hasn't happened in like 50 years. 50. We've been talking about 50 for a while now, have we not? 50, that is the number of Jubilee. Freedom, my friends. Man, finally, has become like Luke Skywalker. Because that's where the astronauts left the SpaceX Dragon. The Dragon shot a man and a woman into space. And the day before that, what was going on at the VMAs was just a disgrace. I'm a poet, my friends, and I'm glad that you're here. I hope that everybody has their popcorn and they're holding it dear, because I'm telling you something. Take a look at the VMA stage. But look at the VMA stage. It's the Moon Man. In fact, my buddy Walrus on X, he said, "Oh, Trump is going to tariff Atlantis." And I was like, "Oh yeah, the Chaser, that renowned periodical." I don't know. You know, some people say that these agencies are all about, just taking the money for who knows what. I'm not saying that. You know, I look up at the sky and I believe there's stars out there. I believe there's space. People have a problem with that. I believe it because I'm looking up and I'm seeing them and go, "Oh, that looks pretty far away." I mean, most likely it's like we're in a simulation. That's why the stars get blurry when you take a look at them. But, you know, I mean, some of the other stuff is a little, sus to me, but I'm not exactly the guy that's going to be running the space program. Jared Isaacman is. That's right. After impregnating the heavens, now he is he's before the Senate committee, and they're they were grilling him and all that.
It's because I am not a typical nominee for this position. I've been relatively apolitical. I am not a scientist. I never worked at NASA. I do not think these are weaknesses. In fact, I believe President Trump found them to be strengths. And if confirmed, I will bring all my experience to the greatest adventure in human history, the quest to discover the secrets of the universe. On that note, NASA is the most accomplished and respected space agency in the world, but for all NASA's historic achievements, the agency is not without challenges. Presidents have called for a return to the moon and a path to Mars since 1989, and well over $100 billion has been spent without the intended results.
Most programs, new telescopes, rovers, X-planes, entire spaceships are over budget and behind schedule. And this is discouraging because when people look up at the stars and wonder what is out there, they want those answers today and not decades down the road. And I know it is not lost on members of this committee that we have
geopolitical rivals moving at impressive speeds. It's imperative for our national security, our pride, and all that we stand to gain in exploration that we never come.
I even put a post out. I said, "Oh, guess what? Who wants to bet that like tomorrow Isaacman, he ends up becoming the head of NASA?" I don't know this for a fact. It's not like anybody whispered in my ear. But I was like, "Oh, it's 7 months exactly. That's a little coinky-dinky-doo." I even wrote a little poem and turned it into a kind of a goofy song for a spacewalk. Take a listen.
There is a time to laugh and a time to cry, says the wise king with tears in his eyes. There is a time for peace and a time for war, a time to go with the flow and a time to live for more. The wise king says, wondering who these words were for. But it is the time to choose that matters most of all. Just because there is a time for everything under the sun doesn't mean when hard times come that you can't change your mind and overcome instead of fall. Your thoughts are what create, so ignore the time you seem to be in, because it's just an illusion after all.
Trump administration, this is calling the pass-back process, which people were reporting on back in the day that the Trump administration was actually considering 50% cut to NASA's budget. Yeah, Janet Petro characterized this reporting as rumors, though, not as a credible source. But today, it's in the news. All these guys, they have so much money. And they argue like children in the street. You think to yourself, these are the people that are in charge, got lasers pointing at us and everything else. Well, what do you think? What do you think? You think space is real? I think space is real. Do you care? I don't care. I don't care if we're on like a petri dish for aliens. I don't care if we're in a simulation. I don't care if we're on a ball or a pear or we're on a turtle's back. What I do care about is the fact that I exist and that you exist and that together we can do great things. Faith is an important thing, no matter where we are, no matter what it looks like. All right, we're here now. We're here now, and God is moving. So let me know in the comments section what you think of this news. Let me, if Jared Isaacman doesn't end up becoming the head of NASA, look, I was wrong, but I just think it would be interesting because it is a certain amount of time. All right, do me a favor, will you? Get yourself a copy of the novel if you want. You can go to Amazon.com, get a copy of the novel. I'm going to play a trailer for you. And of course, if you want the best products going, go to trulyfreehome.com, enter code Jacob, get 30% off. Don't got to worry about the prices going up. You want to get dish soap and stuff like that, get it there. Get it there now. Sign up, get it sent to the house. You're going to thank me. Doesn't have any terrible smells or anything else. That's the way you can support the channel. Of course, you can get some of the merch in the description. You want to get yourself a Uranus is a planet mug. Go get it today. All right, listen, I love each and every one of you. Thanks for stopping by. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bye-bye.
Make believe with me. Picture yourself happy and free, living your life the way you want it to be. No more worries, no fear, no trouble, only peace. Happy at work, at home, with family or alone, regardless of where you roam. Imagine joy is all you know. Imagination is the ground where your future grows. Imagination is the key, you see. If you'd only believe, you'd receive what waits behind the door of infinite possibility. There is a desire in your heart. From this desire you must never part. See the end from the beginning. Picture it all in your mind. Worry about how you'll get there. Only see the end result, regardless of